Okay, so I just had a thought that I want to remember. Um, so I was thinking back on my life and like different habits that I've created now, um, or that have been built over time, seem to be harder to break. So like for example, like when I was younger, um, I'd probably even say like 5 years ago, you know, um, like I was skinnier but I ate mostly like plant-based, and I worked out more often. And now that I'm a little bit older, and I've gained a little bit more weight and I don't eat plant-based now, trying to change back to that lifestyle has been like a really big struggle for me. But it's interesting because when I started that lifestyle, it wasn't a hard transition. So there's something like within me that has either been hardwired or no, it has to be hardwired, that I need to override within the program of my brain. And I think this is why, like, as we get older, it seems like, I don't know about for everybody, but sometimes certain things in my life seem harder than other things because the habits that I've created have inhibited me from moving forward, because everything is stored in the subconscious brain. So your body will just do things automatically because that's what it knows to do. Like, for example, have you ever driven home and then been like, oh my gosh, how did I get home? Like, you totally just went unconscious, you know what I mean? But you already know how to get there, because if you take the same route every day, then it's hardwired into the brain. Or like you move and then you drive back to your old place and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to go this way to my new place. You know what I mean? Like, so it's hardwired into the brain. And I think that is what makes it harder to change. Then when you add in focus, so like in order to be able to change, you have to be able to focus on that thing for a certain period of time until the habit is created. And with, technology, and, they're pushing like shorter videos, which, downgrades your attention span, you can't change. So it's kind of coming together in the sense of like, well, what is the answer? And I think that's why meditate, to know thyself, is really, really helpful, but it also allows you to focus in the moment. Like say if you're doing mindfulness, you're just staying present in the moment. And that is training the focus muscle, if you want to call it that, to be able to override old programs. I know there's a couple of other things that you can do that like Joe Dispenza talks about. So if you can get your mind in the theta state and then listen to, things that will prompt your brain over time to be able to accept that, it would be helpful. Some say it can be done instantly. I just haven't figured out how to do that as of yet. But there's like there's certain things that I want to change in my life or create in my life. And I feel like I hit roadblocks because, I'm like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm trying, but like, then I go back to my old habit and then I get frustrated at myself. So now with the knowledge that, it is habit and it is focus, then I'm going to be working on things that I can do to help me upgrade my habits and, be intentional about the focus. But I'd really love to hear you all's thoughts about it because, like I said, like in my 20s and early 30s, like, it didn't seem as much of a challenge. But now that I'm in my, later 30s, approaching 40s, it's different, and I don't know how and or why that changed, but I want to have more control over my mind, and I want to be able to influence the type of change so I can live the life I want to live. So like I said, I'd really appreciate some comments and feedback, or if you know of anything, you know, please let me know, because I want to try different things and I want to learn and I want to grow.